What's up, guys? I am so happy to be with you today on day 3 of our daily devotional series, Facing the Unknown. All right, call it what you want, but there's this fear, this anxiety, this worry, this whatever it is that happens when we are trying to look into the future and realizing that we have no clue what's going to happen. All right, that's a natural thing. Now, the problem is we can very quickly come up with some stuff that might happen, and when we follow that rabbit trail, we get totally down this spiral of worry and increased anxiety and this downward spiral. And we go to talk to somebody and they give us this wonderful advice like I've done. And they look at us and they say, don't worry about it. Really? Don't worry about it. It's that simple. If I had known not to worry about it, would just take care of it, I'd have said that to myself, an hour ago. But no. Fortunately, Jesus, he tackled this subject of worry head on. Now, his advice was, in fact, don't worry about it. But the thing is, he didn't end there. He gave us more than just don't worry about it. He gave us a couple examples, and I'm going to tell you the scripture they are so you can go and look them up. But it's a little bit longer than we're going to read here today, but I'm going to summarize it by basically saying that he's talking about flowers and birds. In both cases, he points out that how they don't worry. I mean, how could a flower really worry about it in the first place? But the real point is that he's teaching us that these creatures don't have to worry because God provides everything that they need. The birds aren't really conscious of it, but God has always provided them with food, shelter, water, all the things that they need. And for flowers, think about the dandelion. We've been trying to kill those things out for as long as I've ever known, and they're still here. They're still pretty if you really think about it until they take over your yard. But they're still here. Jesus wraps up by pointing out what should be obvious, that God cares about us way more than he does about birds and the flowers. We are his prized possessions, okay? His favorite thing he ever created. And if he's going to take care of the little things like the birds and the flowers like that, then he is absolutely going to take care of us too. So the real question becomes do we trust that God's way is better than our way? You see, often we start to worry because not that something bad is going to happen, but sometimes it does, but that something's not going to end up just the way that we imagined because we've pictured it perfectly. And so we want it to happen just perfectly, but sometimes that's not what we have, and that's not what God has in mind. That's not what we need in that moment. Are we willing to trust to trust that what God has versus what we have, what we perceive as perfect? So, what are you worrying about, and are you willing to let God have control of it? He's, and understand that He's going to work it out, and He's going to have something better than we could have ever imagined our own perfect little way ourselves. Again, that scripture is Matthew 6, 25 through 34. Another verse that I really want to read today is Romans 8, 28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All right, that's the rest of the verse. People say God works for good for all those who love him. No. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called to his purpose. So I know that God has a plan on your life. I know he's got one on mine. And so I know that he's going to work things for good. Not everything's going to be good, but it's going to work for the good. All right? So I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you soon.